Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at a specific article. A lot of them I'm sure you've already seen, but I had a lot of messages from you asking me to cover that. And the article in question is, UK scientists are about to attempt to dim the sun. And I know, guys, this is a very controversial subject, so I'm not really going to be approaching this from this kind of angle, but there's some really interesting information and facts. So what we're going to do, we're going to briefly go through the article, and then we're going to have a look through some other interesting information that you might like to know. Generally, nonetheless, the whole of the idea of blocking the sun is to aid climate change or global warming, because you probably hear this a lot. Everything is about climate change. Everything the government tries to do is in the name of the climate change, and they do spend absolutely millions and billions on climate change. So if we have a look at the Met Office, there's a load of information there of what they do and that kind of thing, but there is a sentence there about the climate change. So it literally states, so some level of climate change is now inevitable over the coming decades. There's none of this, oh, it's climate change disaster or climate change catastrophe. This is what's currently being pushed upon our throat because the government just wants to waste money on the stupid things. So they're just saying, yes, it is inevitable, but over the coming decades. They're not saying that we're in the climate catastrophe right now. So anyway, the whole point, the article goes on. British scientists could experiment with techniques to block the sun as a part of a 50 million government-funded scheme to combat global warming. So anyway, so they call it as a Geoengineering Project to be given the go-ahead within the weeks for scientists to explore different techniques. So the project will be funded by the Advanced Research and Innovation Agency. So the government has set aside 50 million for the controversial experiment, but in total has been given 80 million of taxpayers' money to fund it for the next 4 years. 80 million. I can tell you what else they can do with 80 million. There are approximately 70 million people in the UK, so they could give each one of them a tenner, so they can buy themselves 72 hours worth of food. Or they can give the households at £25 each, because approximately there's a 30 million households. So £25 each, again, to put towards your 72-hour preparedness. That to me sounds like a good idea, but hey, what do I know? So I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details or the other blurb there is in the article, but of course I'll put the article link down below so you guys have a read. So there are 3 methods, they are looking to experiment with. So the first of them is stratospheric aerosol injection, or also known as SAI. So basically they're going to be releasing those aerosolic particles into the stratosphere to reflect sun away from the Earth. So second one is marine cloud brightening, which means they're going to be spraying seawater into the atmosphere to basically make clouds more reflective. And the third one is cirrus cloud thinning. So they said they're seeding ice nuclei into the cirrus clouds to reduce their heat trapping capacity. Basically, as I understand, they try to make the clouds thinner so the heat can escape a little bit better. So this is the 3 supposed types they're going to be spending 800 million on. So without sort of sounding controversial or anything, the experiments like this for the geoengineering been happening for many years. So this is what it really gets me and really bothers me, that they spending that amount of money on that kind of thing. So believe this or not, there was already SAI, so stratospheric aerosol injection studies carried on in America. They were literally led by the Harvard University, and was designed to test the feasibility of injecting reflective particles into the air to reduce the solar radiance reaching the Earth. But it was halted in 2024 because of the concerns. So believe this or not, this is the one, I think, where the people got this, not say a little bit confused, but this is a little bit of a conspiracy theory, because people were talking about this project was actually funded by the Bill Gates. He gave money to Howard and he funded the whole project. But the whole idea was that they released a small amount of calcium carbonate to find as a non-toxic dust into the atmosphere. It's been probably a huge hoo-ha about that kind of thing, but it has been halted apparently because people are saying, well, actually, this is probably really not a good idea. I'm not really a doctor myself neither, but to be fair, if you're spraying some sort of dust particles in the atmosphere, whatever goes up will come down, and chances are we don't really want to be breathing in anything powdery, because technically, to me, this is not good for our lungs. Nonetheless, my point is, so Mr. Bill Gates already founded this research, it's been done, but it's been stopped last year because of the concerns. And now we are going to be paying millions of pounds to do the same research that already took place and was halted because people had concerns. So we're now moving on to the marine cloud brightening. And guess what? This has already been done as well. So in San Francisco, apparently researchers concluded that experiments involving the release of salt particles into marine clouds to increase their reflectivity didn't basically work. So while the technique showed potential for localized cooling, studies indicated that such interventions could disrupt weather patterns in other regions. So they stopped doing this. So yet again, something has already been done, and yet we're planning to do the same just to prove the fact that that is going to do the same thing. If they tell you it's going to disrupt the patterns, then that's it, take it at that. Why do we need to ask the UK? Why do we need to spend money in doing the same thing that has already been done? And again, whatever it is that they're talking about, all these attempts, they're only talking about the localized areas of actually dimming the sun. So what is actually the point of trying to spend all that money just to, first of all, for something that's already been done, and then secondly, just localized and temporary effect? To me, that sounds absolutely ridiculous. And of course, the third part was the cloud thinning, which I haven't found any information to say whether it actually has been done before or not. But the point is, okay, this is the idea of what they're trying to do. So the point is as well, okay, come back to the geoengineering, I'm sure you probably would have heard the Dubai storm I think it was last April, when they had huge amount of rain. Again, this is not a conspiracy, this is open information that Dubai, or Arabic Emirates in fact, are fully participating in the cloud seeding experiments to make sure they generate enough of water, because basically they're desert. You're fully aware of that. But when the technically experiment gone wrong, they had literally floods because they had too much water. Although of course scientists denied or trying to find the explanations why this has happened, but they basically said that cloud seeding is only really valuable, or really creates a problem, or in fact creates more cloud where only clouds already present, rather than just appearing clouds out of the thin air. Anyway, this is what they said. But the point is, this has been happening, okay, and this is already created, whatever they agree to this or not, this has created a weather issue. So my point is, again, just point of this video is the sheer amount of, I don't really know what to call this, that our government just decides to spend 800 million on something that has already been done. And genuinely, we do know, guys, they've been experimenting with the weather stuff for absolutely years. So do we really need to be spending 800 million on something like that? I don't think so. So there we are, guys. I do hope you have enjoyed this video. Please don't forget, thumbs up, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye-bye.